Well, hello and welcome to another weekly Lanzarote news update. And I hope you enjoy watching these as much as I enjoy doing them, because I look forward to doing this every single week. Stay tuned until the end, because our new feature is that at the end of these news videos, we'll give you 3 things that we think you should be doing if you're on the island next week. And it will keep you up to date with events and whatever's going on here. And the first piece of news, and I'm really delighted to be able to say this, is that a statue is going to be erected to Kenneth Gasque in Puerto del Carmen. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kenneth is he's known here as the father of Ironman. And he attended an event that nobody had ever heard of in the 1980s called Ironman in Hawaii. And he came back very energized from that and decided that he wanted to bring Ironman to Lanzarote, where he worked at Club La Santa. And it took him a few years, but he got there in the end. And in 1992, we had the inaugural Ironman Lanzarote, a really unique event in that the bike course basically goes the whole way around the island. And Kenneth designed the original course. That first one had only 148 athletes, and it was the first Ironman triathlon event in Europe. Over the years, it became absolutely iconic, and it still is, as the toughest Ironman event in the world, the toughest triathlon event in the world. That's because of the strong wind we have here, the long climb on the bike from sea level on the island to the highest point on the island, and then the run in generally searing conditions in the afternoon, and the run is a full marathon. The event is 3.8 kilometre swim in the ocean, followed by a 180 kilometre bike ride, and finishing off with a 42.2 kilometre marathon. So it's quite a tester. It's grown so much over the years, and thousands of athletes have taken part in it, and a percentage of those have finished it. And every single one of them who finished for many years had that proud moment where Kenneth hung their finisher's medal around their necks. So he's been a part of it. He retired a couple of years ago, but he's been a part of it for almost all of its career as the major sporting event on the island, which is why I'm so happy that he's being recognised with this statue, which will go on the start-finish line in Puerto del Carmen. And I can assure you I'll be there to cheer him on and cheer the statue on when it arrives. I'm going to try and get a selfie of myself next to it, but either way I'll be sharing photos of the actual event with you, and I'll keep you posted about when that's going to be. Now, sticking with sport for a moment, and this is tragic news, we had 2 sports people die this week. The first was a free diver who was hit by a boat when he was free diving in Puerto del Carmen. He was a 41-year-old Frenchman, and unfortunately he didn't make it. Police are investigating exactly what went wrong. In the second incident, a 59-year-old scuba diver, and I don't know his nationality yet, was found in cardiac arrest by some bathers, also in Puerto del Carmen. He was brought to shore, but they were unable to resuscitate him. And then the third one, and they say these things always come in threes, a cyclist had a big accident in Los Valles in the municipality of Teguise, and he hit a wall, and he's now in hospital with what's described as a serious brain injury. So we've got our fingers crossed that he makes a decent recovery, but it's not looking great for him at the moment. And while we're talking about health and safety, the island has ordered 30 new defibrillators, and these are machines that almost anyone can attach to a person who's suffering from a cardiac event, and they will automatically then analyse the person, make a decision as to what they need in terms of a shock to their heart to get it going or get it back in rhythm. And we're going to have 30 more of them on the island. We already have a number, and the existing ones are all going to be upgraded and have their software updated as part of this whole contract that's been awarded. And you might see them as you're out and about in various parts on the island, and more of the emergency services here are being both equipped with them and trained in their use. So hopefully we'll be able to deal or help people like the gentleman who died while diving in Puerto del Carmen this week by having the right equipment in the right place. That's not to say that that was an issue in his example, because I gather that he was already in cardiac arrest and it was too late when he was pulled from the water. Now on to happier news now, and I love this story. It was announced this week by the Cabildo that the school children of the island during the winter will be given guided tours of Arrecife, and they'll be accompanied by a historian who will take them through the history of the capital, explain about the Puente de las Bolas, the bridge with the cannonballs on the top, the different castles there and why they were built, who they were built by, and the actions they were involved in. They'll be talking about the history of fishing on the island, and generally taking them around to all the key places in the capital to give school children a feel for the history of the island that they live on. And the Cabildo's also purchased another plot of land in Uga. This is a 4,500 metre plot, which has been purchased at a price of 1.1 million euros. And this is a third place that they are going to build affordable housing. And what's happening with this plot and the one in Playa Blanca and the one in Arrecife is that they'll be handed over to what's effectively a housing association. The Cabildo will pay for the build of the properties on there. The housing association will then take control of them, and they will be handed out to, not handed out, that's probably the wrong word, but they will be offered to locals at what's described as an affordable rent. So over the next few years, it's not a short-term fix, it's a medium-term fix, but certainly over the next few years, there should be more housing opportunities for locals because the population here has expanded so much over the last 10 years. Now let me remind you again, please, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do so. Click the subscribe button. There's also a notification bell. And if you like the video, give us a like. We're still trying to grow this channel. I set myself some objectives when we started, that by this time next year, we'll have reached a certain level and a certain audience, and we're on track for it. But I need to keep reminding you to do those things if you don't mind. And of course, if you've got a question, put a comment in below. And as I said before, I read every single comment on these videos, and I'll always answer your questions, and I'm always interested in your feedback. Now, you may or may not have heard of Sebastian Yatra, but he is a really big star of the Spanish pop charts all around the world. He comes from Colombia, and he's a big star in the Spanish-speaking part of the United States, obviously all through Latin America and here in Spain. And he gave a concert which was the culmination of Fiesta San Ginés in Arrecife last weekend, and it was attended by 65,000 people, which is huge for this island. And I've seen, I wish we'd gone down actually, but I've seen pictures and video from the beach, which was just rammed, and it was very atmospheric, with Sebastian belting out his hits from a stage underneath the Arrecife Grand Hotel. That's been described as the biggest music event ever on the island, so that would have been pretty exciting to have been there. And next up, Tinajo has new street furniture coming. And Tinajo is one of the most picturesque of the towns on the island. It's kind of basically one long street with some lovely little shops, bars and restaurants in it. And they are famous for having the best Christmas lights every year, and they do. One of the things they're doing to pretty up the town even more is to install all new street furniture down the length of that street. So there'll be new bins, new pergolas for the bus stops, and new benches for people to sit on with shade, and so on and so forth. So look out for that in the next few months. That work is starting right now, and next time you drive through, you should see a very different aspect of Tinajo. And finally on the news front, but don't forget to stick around for the 3 things that I suggest you do next week. The wine harvest was an absolute disaster this year. It was only 1.3 million kilos, which compares to 3.3 million kilos last year. And that 1.3 million kilos will only produce around 1 million litres of wine this year. The reason for it, and it was predicted, although it was worse than the predictions were saying, was because we had a really, really warm and extremely dry winter. We kind of got through that bit, or the wine growers kind of got through that bit, but then it was doubled down on in July, which is the month when you need lots of sunshine to ripen the grapes, and we had too much cloud in July. So an amazing winter from a holiday maker's point of view led into a pretty average summer, and that meant only 1.3 million kilos. The good news is, as so often happens, and I think it's a vine thing, this, despite the fact that the harvest amount was poor, the quality is really, really high. So we should expect some very good wines this year. But of course, because there weren't that many grapes, there won't be many of them. So get your stocks in early. So here we go with three things that I would suggest you do if you're on the island over the next 7 days. And the first one I'm going to start off with is the fiesta, which is going on in Yaiza at the moment. Now, many of you will have been to fiesta events like the Fiesta del Carmen in Puerto del Carmen, or perhaps Fiesta de San Ginés in Arrecife, but not many people go to the fiestas in the villages, and or the small towns and villages like Yaiza, like Aria. And they are very quaint, they're very pretty, the people are very welcoming to visitors because they don't generally have a lot of visitors at their fiesta events. And I promise you, you'll really enjoy it. And this coming Sunday, there is a whole series of events going on in the centre of Yaiza for their fiesta, their summer fiesta. So if you get yourself down there, you'll find that there's live music going on. There's a big concert in the evening, but there's lots of live music during the day. There's a running event. There's all kinds of things going on and a real carnival atmosphere. So that's the first one. Visit the fiesta in Yaiza on Sunday. And now I'm going to go back in time slightly, if that makes sense, because Saturday afternoon there is a dragon boat event going on in Puerto del Carmen at the Plaza de las Naciones. It's been organised by the Chinese community on the island. I don't really know what a dragon boat event is, and I don't really know what's going to happen. The description isn't that clear, but we're going. It starts at 12:30 at the Plaza. That's the big area of promenade on Los Pocios Beach. So if you fancy doing that, head down from 12:30 onwards on Saturday afternoon. And as I say, we'll be there. Look out for us, and I'll probably be shooting some video somewhere. And next Friday, September the 6th, the Hotel Farallones are having a Great Gatsby party. And they're having that in the Cueva de Doña Juana, which is the little kind of cave bar they've got right down on the seafront as you face the hotel from the ocean to the right of the hotel. That event, it kicks off in the evening, and it's described as a celebration of 1920s New York, the Gatsby era, when New York had speakeasies. And it looks like a really fun event. They've got a mixology, they've got drinks, they've got lots of live entertainment and music. And we've been to an event organised by that team before, which was absolutely brilliant. So they really know how to nail these things. So if you're on the island and you're around, I think you might enjoy that event. You'll find all of these events in the pages on our What's On website. So if you go to the main Lanzarote information homepage and then click What's On, you can then put the dates you're on the island in there, or you can scroll through from now over the next 10 weeks or whatever you want and just have a look at everything that's going on. We don't hold stuff back. Everything we know about goes in there pretty much as soon as we know about it. And that's a brilliant job that Susanna does for us. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much once again for watching. We really do value every single one of you. And we'll be here at the same time next week. So until then, hasta luego.